Hi, and welcome back to another episode of
Not Life as We Know It.
today's episode. I'm going to get into an interview that I did with my friend Richard. Now, again, we've already done some interviews on the anime side of the channel. And so before we begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below, click like, and click subscribe. Definitely every single time you put a like, it helps the YouTube algorithm figure out and recommend my videos and that kind of stuff. So definitely anything that you do like that would definitely help. If you have a comment or a story that you'd like to tell and add, maybe some questions and that kind of stuff, because I'm also always constantly collecting up responses for the questions and answers and that kind of stuff. Feel free to go down below and make a comment and that kind of stuff. That always, again, really does help. For those people who would like to support me financially, I also have the Super Thanks button, as well as the links to PayPal and Patreon down below. I do have a variety of different episodes available to the subscribers, as well as content that's not allowed to be on YouTube here, due to the terms of service, of course. So then I will make that available to all the various Patreon members. I have compiled all the episodes of the History of Fan Anime, as well as the special subscriber episodes, all together into a big long spreadsheet, and it's basically sorted in a book style format, so that if you want to look at a particular topic specifically, all the episodes are grouped together with the links and everything. You'll find it much more useful to use that database resource as opposed to trying to use a search engine on YouTube, because it's just, YouTube search engine is just not as effective as getting right to the information that you're looking for. Okay, so again, I invite you to do that. And again, I'd like to thank all the subscribers for your support. It really does help. And I'm going to get Richard to go through a bunch of various different topics and things that he is familiar with from his point of view. And without further delay, let's begin.
The Kurt Russell thing was, Kurt Russell was supposed to be on this production that was for Godzilla series, TV series, and we were at sort of like a airport. It was like an airport for workers, and he had his team of these young people that were investigating and helping to sleuth this Godzilla phenomenon. But they were trying to escape from this place in Korea that was being devastated. So they were trying to get out of Korea at this worker airport thing. And I was one of the workers, I was like a sanitation engineer or something. Anyways, we were all trying to just finish our shift and get the heck out of Dodge. And they're like, oh, where do we go? What do we do? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we got to get out of here. There's going to be a disaster. But, we're a bunch of disgruntled Korean workers, right? So one of the guy comes up to you and is like, oh, so Kurt's going to do a pass around with the people he's meeting to try to get them out of here. And they're trying to con their way out of the airport to get a flight or something. So you're going to act like you're pissed off and annoyed by their presence. I'm like, okay, how close is he going to be? He's going to be right over your shoulder. So you're going to look over your shoulder and give him a dirty look. What do you mean dirty look? You're going to look like you're annoyed, you're pissed off with their presence and their commotion and everything. Okay, so you want me to be pissed off at Kurt Russell? Yeah. You're supposed to be pissed off at Kurt Russell. I'm like, all right. And I was like, well, when do you want me to cue or mark? Because just when he comes in and he starts talking, once he starts making that commotion with his team, you're supposed to look over your shoulder and look in disdain. I'm like, okay. So that's what I ended up having to do. Every time Kurt Russell came in, I had to give him a dirty look and sneer and give him like a scowl or something, like I'm pissed off at him or something, right? And that was my job. And then they had to do it from different angles and this and that, how close we were, pretend we were annoyed and getting bumped against and all this stuff. But my job was to be pissed off at Kurt Russell. And that was my job on that shoot. So that's what they ask you to do, you do it, right? But normally, of course, you don't want to offend the actor, right, or the stars, right? So you sort of feel it out. You're not gonna half-ass it. And then it's like, no, you don't look pissed off enough. You don't look annoyed enough. All right. And it usually ends up, like I said, 9 times out of 10, you have to go over the top, right? Like when I was getting gassed as a protester right? With the tear gas. It's not like, weak sneezes and coughs. You have to be like, oh, I'm dying here. I'm hurling chunks, right? So that's what makes it funny, is when you have to do stuff like that just to make it look like it's real. That's the funny stuff. So I remember I was on Altered Carbon, and we were pretending to be these rough and tumble gang member guys. And we were supposed to look like we were talking and laughing it up and everything else and drinking booze and everything. But they couldn't get the shot. I said to the other guy, hey, how's it going? Exchange names, pleased to meet you. It's like, hey, we got to make it look like this is an authentic bar drinking scene. It's like, well, what do you propose? What do you want to do? And I was like, hey, let's talk about our ex-wives. And he's like, that's perfect. So when we started talking about how crappy our ex-wives were, right? We started laughing and giggling and pushing each other and, clinking glasses and stuff like that. And it looked like we were at a bar scene talking crap about our ex-wives. So it looked authentic. But if we're just saying, hey, giving each other a stupid smile, whatever, clinking glasses, this and that, wouldn't have looked, but it looked like we were a bunch of drunk guys that were shitting on our ex-wives. And that's what they're looking for. They want it to like, hey, you're not just there to drink, you're there to like whatever the scenario is, right? So that's what makes it funny, is you're trying to sell something and it's not going to even be noticed. 9 times out of 10, you're just heads moving or bodies moving in the background, but you're not going to even be noticed because you're blurry or you're kind of in the dark or whatever. And then everything's focused on what the stars are doing. But it's still funny. That guy in Doctor Strange, I can't remember his name now. He's a Chinese guy from Britain. I was his hand model for Deadly Class. I was supposed to be, his Dominic Wong? I think his name is. Can't remember. He's a British guy, Chinese guy from England. I was supposed to be his hands in Deadly Class. They put me in a 3-piece suit with cufflinks and everything, and the shoes and everything, and I was supposed to be his hand that was supposed to take a coin off of a butcher block. Waited 15 hours, and we shot it for 15 minutes. And it was like on screen for like not even 10 to 15 seconds. I was his hand model. I guess I have Dominic Wong's hands or whatever, but I know it's absolutely ridiculous, right? But you got to remember, they're doing that because it costs more to hire him to do that shot than it would be me. They only pay me a few $100s. They pay that freaking guy, they're probably going to have to pay like thousands of dollars. So thousands of dollars, a few $100s, yeah, get this Chinese guy to do it. We're not going to see the rest of them anyways. You see maybe from my neck down to my hands, right? So it could be anybody, right? And it lasted like not even 5 to 10 seconds on screen. My friend said, yeah, I saw the episode. It was like maybe 5 seconds. Okay. But it's cheaper than hiring Dominic Wong to do it.
Yes.
Right? So, yeah, stuff like that's pretty funny. Really? That's all I'm supposed to do? Yep. That's it. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy business. It's funny when you talk about it, but and it's like all these stuff. It's like it comes and goes so quickly. The number of shows you do, right? Like when I was a gang member in the 100, you're supposed to be like, yeah, we survived the nuclear holocaust, yeah, in the bunker. You're supposed to be whooping and screaming. It's like making faces like, yeah, we survived, everybody died, yeah, woohoo, whatever, right? And stuff like that. Right? You have to have a certain face to sell the shot, right? You're not going to be laughing if it's someone dying in a scene, right? You're going to be like, hey, look, he's dying. But then, of course, if somebody's celebrating a birthday or something, you're not going to stand there like a dead fish and like, yeah, so it's birthday, who cares, right? You have to sort of sell the shot with your emotion and your gestures and whatever else. But yeah, it's no different than, being an NPC in a MMORPG or being a character or whatever, right? Or being at an amusement park.
And then you said you also did that the dead gang member in that movie.
Oh, I didn't get the part for Riverdale.
Riverdale.
Yeah, I was supposed to lie in a pool of water, mud, and bleeding out with a gang member's costume on. And I was supposed to be a gang member that got killed, lying in the water. But they decided, I guess they decided not to do it. But that's what I was going to be paid for, to lie there not doing anything, look dead, probably with makeup on and blood everywhere. And
So in a situation like that, like, did they get you to do something else, or?
well, I've done other things for Riverdale. Yeah, I've done it. I was sitting behind. Is it Matthew Perry or Luke Perry? I can't remember his name. He was. I think he played Archie's dad. He used to be on 90210, but he was playing Archie's dad. He died not too long ago, but I was sitting right behind him. It was Archie's dad giving a speech to the PTA at some evening session with thunder and lightning outside. And I was sitting right behind him like, oh, that's the guy from 90210, and he's playing Archie's dad. And I was sitting right behind him, almost directly behind the guy, looking at it, and I was like, huh. And watching him give his speech to the PTA meeting. Well, you have things like that, or I was at stadium, and I got out of my sports car, and I look, oh, it's The Rock rolling down the hill with his motorcycle.
And that was for the skyscraper movie?
Skyscraper movie, yeah. I don't know if they used the scene, but he was surviving getting there, and there's a bunch of cops, and he came rolling down the hill on the motorcycle, and I was supposed to be getting out of my sports car and standing beside it, and I'm like, okay, that was my job. Stay in the sports car with the lights on and then get out and stand beside it while The Rock comes rolling down the hill with his motorcycle. Okay. I mean, that was one scene when we were doing Skyscraper at Hong Kong Ferry Terminal. And I literally was spinning, not even spinning, I could literally reach out and touch The Rock. He was like right in front of me while I'm standing there, just talking and whatever, setting the scene up. I could literally stick my arm out and touch the guy. That's how close he was. A big guy too. You have situations like, or Kurt Russell, right? Look, oh, he's within spitting distance, and I'm making a dumb face at him, right? Stuff like that. But they're just people, they're just there to do a job, and they're just people. But people that are being paid way more than I'll ever get paid, but they're people, right?
Yeah. Well, that's your part, right? So.
Exactly. So, yeah, it can be fun, but with the moments that you have that are fun or funny or amusing, there's a lot of dead time, waiting, right? So you have to get your rest and prepare, make sure you look sharp, do all these things, go to the bathroom, get some food so you don't collapse on set, drink some water, do whatever you need to do. But a lot of it is waiting on set.
So here, the catering's usually pretty decent on these places?
Depends on the shoot. 9 times out of 10, it's pretty good. Eat as much food as you want. Well, that's why I got fat. Because I didn't exercise, and I just ate and went to work, right? I didn't do any exercise. I finished work, go home and sleep, go back whenever I had to go back. Right. No exercise, just ate. So I got fat. Almost, my A1C was way up. I was pre-diabetic. My doctor was going to prescribe me a whole bunch of pills. That's how bad it got after a year and a half. So he said, you better fix this. I'm like, oh. So I joined a gym, exercised like a mofo, did all this other stuff, ate better, didn't work as much anymore. So, ate healthy, fasted, did everything. And the doctor said, oh, okay, you're good. Everything's back to normal again. Don't do that again.
Well, when it's literally like a buffet every day.
Well, no, I was getting 5-star food for my meals.
Yeah.
That's how good the catering was. It's 5 stars sometimes. But it's even, sometimes it's funny with the actors, the stars. They'll do some crazy stuff, and you're like, oh, really? Like when I was on Shogun, I was told, oh, go and touch Cosmo, the star, John Blackthorne. What do you mean touch Cosmo? It's like, yeah, pretend you have to touch him. I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? What do you mean touch him? Because, well, you're running away from the fire in the village. He's running away from the fire in the village. So in the scene, I almost ran into him, I almost tackled the guy. So what I'm supposed to do is pretend to run into him and touch him to move him out of the way, right? So that's what it meant by touching the star. I'm like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, just, pat him down and Pretend you're trying to get them out of the way so you can escape from the fire. All right. So that's part of the job sometimes. You have to touch the star or touch the actors. But only if you're told you do it for the scene to do this.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't want to be like, oh, I don't want to get blackballed for life, right? I don't want to get blacklisted from any work. So like you have to tell me exactly what you want me to do with this person when I touch them, right? Because there's instances where, yeah, you may have to touch a stuntman or touch another person that you're with, or in the scene it may involve you guys to look authentic. Like if it's your boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, you may be holding hands or arm in arm, or you have your arm around them or something. It's rare, but it happens, right? Or you may have to hold a child's hand. There's things where there's going to have to, well, it was much less during COVID, but everybody had been COVID tested. So yeah, stuff like that can be funny too. It's like, that's my wife? Oh, that's my kid? Really? Yep, you're a family. All right. So it's kind of funny, right? Oh, you're my wife. Yeah, you're my husband. Yeah. And you're my kid. Yep. Okay. Right? So stuff like that can be pretty funny too.
Okay, so again, we'll have to continue this interview in the next episode. So again, we've got to hit like and subscribe so we will get the more of those episodes when they come out, right? So until next time, I will see you again.